Hey, everybody, and welcome to the webinar today. We're going to be talking about how to expand your brand to the European Union, how to start selling on the different platforms there, and a variety of other topics related to expansion. I'm Mike Begg. I'm the CEO of AMZ Advisors, and today we have a full house together with me. We have Emanuel, who is one of our global account managers at AMZ Advisors. We have Meghla, who is with India Sourcing Network. Rashad with WhatSales, Vladislava with WAPI, and Omar with MarginBusiness. So we have a full agenda today, and I'm going to kind of just kick it off right away. Emanuel, I'm going to go to you first. Emanuel is going to be talking about the global blueprint, your guide to conquering European markets. So, Emanuel, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Mike, for introducing me, and thank you for having me. So yeah, I'll just go ahead, share my screen, and we'll get right into it. Let me know if the screen is visible for everyone.
Yep, we've got it.
Great. All right. So yeah, so as Mike mentioned, I'll go through your guide to conquering European markets. And first, I will introduce myself. So I'm Emanuel, Global Account Manager at AMZ Advisors covering Europe. I've been with AMZ since January last year, and now before that, I was a vendor consultant in Amazon Europe, and then I transitioned to a catalog manager position. So I've essentially consulted a lot of high-end vendors from Amazon in all European marketplaces. So this is me. Now we'll start with a question: why sell in Europe? And I know in these webinars, because I've been to quite a few of them, everyone pulls up some stats. So I'm going to do the same, but I'm just going to move quickly between them because I know you might be even bored of them until now. So essentially, this is why you should get into Europe. Germany and United Kingdom, really big markets. Germany is the second biggest market in terms of net sales. These stats are from last year. United Kingdom is number 3. And obviously, rest of the world, 81.97 billion, which also includes the other European marketplaces not mentioned here. So pretty good markets. I also have here the monthly Amazon users as for April 2023. So as you can see, the European almost goes to 1 billion users compared to the US 2.2 billion. So half of that, which is a really great opportunity to actually be there. And the markets are still developing, they are still growing. So the opportunity is still there compared to the US, where US is obviously great, but it's a more mature marketplace. So it's actually a bit more harder to actually enter it. So now we'll answer, is it worth it? Let's see. I would say that the short answer is yes, it's definitely worth it. And then the long answer will be yes, but you'll need to have a few things sorted to actually be successful in these marketplaces. And I'll go through a few of them. So first, let's go to the prerequisite, because you will need quite a few things before even thinking of getting your products to Amazon. And first thing will be compliance, because I have here a screenshot from Amazon, from an email from Amazon: action required, compliance requirements for your product listings. You never want to get this type of emails from Amazon. That probably means your listing will either be dropped or you will have to actually provide them with some documentation, and it will be a headache. So always better to get these things sorted beforehand. Now, once you have all the compliance sorted, and pay attention, especially if you're selling in health and personal care and in food and beverages, because those are more tougher categories to actually get the compliance right. After that, you have VAT. So essentially taxes. You need to make sure that you're all sorted in terms of VAT, because Amazon does not play games with VAT. They actually deactivated quite a lot of sellers' accounts last year just because they were not VAT compliant, and they will probably continue to do so to ensure that everyone is compliant with the tax regulations that there are. So next thing will be logistics and warehousing, which again, pretty important stuff as well. You need to figure out how you will get your products to Europe. And if you already have your products in Europe, where will you store them and who will be sending your products to Amazon's customers? And here you have essentially two options. Either use FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant. So you essentially store the products in your own warehouse, or you store them into a 3PL warehouse and you ship them directly to the customers. Or the other option that Amazon provides, which is FBA, where they do all the shipping, they do the fulfillment. You just need to send stock into their warehouse. Now, for FBA, there are actually two options if you want to sell in multiple European countries. And those two are EFN, which stands for European Fulfillment Network, and Pan-European Program. So I'll quickly explain what these two means and what are the differences between these two. So for EFN, if you want to sell in multiple countries, you send stock to Germany in this example. And then from Germany, people can buy products from Italy, Spain, and so on and so forth. But the stock will be held in Germany, and Amazon will fulfill the orders from Germany to the other countries. Now, the other option that you have is Pan-EU, where you essentially send the stock to one European country, again, let's say Germany, for the sake of this example, and then Amazon shares your inventory in Germany to other countries, to their warehouses in other countries. So then people that will buy from Italy, they will receive it from an Italian warehouses. People that will buy from Spain will receive the orders from a Spain warehouse. Now, the benefit of EFN is that you only need a VAT certificate in one country where you're holding stock in, because this is the rule. Where you're holding stock in, you will need to be VAT registered. So in this case, you can only be VAT registered in Germany and ship to the other countries. However, the disadvantage is shipping times are obviously higher than compared if the units are stored in any other European country. And then at the Pan-EU, the disadvantage is wherever you want to share stock, in which country you want to share stock in, you will need to be VAT registered. So for example, you can send stock to Germany and share inventory to Italy and Spain, but you will need to be registered in both of those two. Benefit, obviously, shipping times are lower, conversion rate is better. So it's a good opportunity, but EFN is great for starting out, testing the markets and see what's going on. Now, we'll talk a bit about how to actually sell successfully on Amazon Europe. And I have here a few steps that you'll need to go through to be successful on this market. So first will be market analysis. I will go deeper into that soon, but just as an overview, you need to understand the market that you're selling in, and you need to understand how your product fits in that specific market. Then set up goals. So essentially, based on the information that you gather to your market research, you will be able to put some goals up. Understand what is forecast, essentially how much revenue or how many units you will be able to sell. Now, next one is review your costs. Really important step. So any type of cost that you have to actually sell on Amazon, if it's Amazon subscription, if it's the pick and pack fees that Amazon take, if it's the referral fee from Amazon, if it's the logistics costs, so on and so forth, everything adds up. So you need to know this beforehand in order to make a good decision for the next step, which is pricing strategy. So how you price your product. We are assuming that in the market analysis, you also saw a lot of competitors there and you saw how they are pricing their products. So the rule for pricing is obviously price your product in order for you to be profitable, and also price your product to be competitive in the market, right? Two important rules to actually have a good pricing strategy. Now, the next one is content strategy, which is fairly interesting in Europe because of the different languages that there are and the different culture between each and every country. But again, content strategy will cover more deeply soon. Advertising strategy, again, an important step. You need to get a hold on what you will need to do in terms of advertising once you get on Amazon, because this will be a huge step in actually start to get some sales in. So for advertising, I would say keyword research is the first and most important step. Hopefully you got quite a bit of information from the market analysis that you did previously, but keyword research really important and really important to get as many keywords in the local language of the marketplace you're selling in, so you can target specifically exactly what someone from Italy, for example, might search for. And from there is just testing, cut down what it's not working and scale up what's working in your advertising. Now, last thing in here is the catalog setup, which might not sound like much, but it's really important in Europe because especially if you're using EFN or Pan-EU and you're selling in multiple countries, you need to have a consistent catalog throughout all of the countries. So every single country will need to have the same SKUs. You'll need to have everything arranged under the same parent, and you need to export everything in a way that the listing share reviews between each and every country, because this is also something important. Now, we'll go a bit in depth into the market analysis and the content strategy part, because I think there are some essential parts. Well, everything is essential from what I just explained, but market analysis and content strategy will make a huge difference. So for market analysis, this is a type of reporting that we use. In this part in here, we see the market potential. So we see how big is the market in terms of generating revenue. And we look at three important factors, which is the demand. So are people actually searching for the product? Are people actually looking to buy what you want to sell? Then we're looking at the revenue potential. So is the market that you're selling into generating a good amount of revenue? In this case, in this example that we have here, 71 out of 100, it's pretty good. Then the next one is opportunity, which is essentially from the total listings that there are on that specific market. Is there an opportunity for you to do better? Are the other listings unoptimized and you can get ahead of themselves of them by being just have better listings in general, better keywords, better images? So this is what we're looking at. We're also looking at the market movement. So we see how the market evolved in time, so we can make some good decisions. Now, the next thing, really important step as well, competitors. So we look at all the competitors that are in the market. In the first image in here, you can see a breakdown month by month of the revenue generated by some of the competitors that you have. So you can actually take a look into this, analyze, and create a pattern, right? If I'm just quickly looking into this in here, May seems like had a drop in revenue for most of the listings here. So it's fairly possible that this type of product doesn't necessarily do really well in May, but it does fairly good in April. Then something else that we're looking at is conversion rate and click-through rate. Important as well. You need to understand this is top 3 products and what's the total click-through rate they are getting and the total amount of conversions. So you know what will you experience once you go to that first page. Because if you're selling on Amazon, this is the goal. Get to the first page so you can get the best visibility and start getting some orders in. We're also looking at reviews and ratings. So we can compare by starting out with 0 reviews. Probably if we're going into the market where most of the listings has between 10,000 and I don't know, 20,000 reviews, it will be fairly hard to actually start ranking on that first page. Now, one of the most important things from the market analysis, the keywords, and this is a keyword opportunity sheet. Mostly we're looking at the revenue generated from the keyword, the search volume, and the ratings. Ideally, we would have a keyword that has a good amount of search volume, is generating good amounts of revenue, and also on average has low ratings, because that means will be easier for you without reviews to actually penetrate the market. Obviously, if you're already an established seller in some other marketplaces and you have the reviews, you will be ahead of the game. So next thing is the content strategy, and I'll discuss about the listing copy and the images. Really important in the European marketplaces are translations and adaptation, because most of the sellers has already their listing copy in English. But in Europe, it's really, really important to actually get translation and adapt the text to the European marketplaces, and also optimize them with the keywords that you found earlier in the market research, because people from Italy might search for things really different from people from the UK or from people from the US. So I have here 2 examples of a listing that's translated and optimized for, this one is for Italy. So translated and optimized for the Italy marketplace compared to this one, which is in fully in English. So most of the people there will look to actually understand what the listing is saying, not even if they know and understand English, it's way easier for them to actually take a look at the listing and see what's it about, just because it's in their local language. Same thing for bullet points. Bullet points are essentially there to help the customer make a decision for buying, right? You're giving all the details to the customer about what the product is about, and this decision will be way more easier for them to make if they really understand well what the bullet points are saying, and having it in their specific language will help. Again, I mentioned this before, local keywords. So use as many keywords from that specific market as you can. Do not only use keywords that you found in other market researches. And last thing, use local measurements. Obviously, if you're selling in the US and you want to scale to Europe, you're already used to using inches. If you go to Europe, just use centimeters. Most of the Europeans will have a hard time actually understanding the dimensions if they are in inches. Now, next thing, images. So here, the first 3 are the same exact thing: translation, local keywords, and use local measurements. The only thing that I added as an extra here is future real European settings, if possible. So for some of the products, if you can put them in a real European setting when you're taking an image of it. So just as an example, if you're selling a coffee machine, and you're selling it in France, you might want to have images with the product along with a croissant and a coffee, maybe along with bread and butter, which is a traditional morning dish for the French people. So that's something to pay attention for. And yeah, that's about it from my end. I know the time is limited, so I try to rush a bit through it. Thanks a lot for your time, and I really hope you got some interesting information out of this.
No, thank you for that, Emanuel. And it was very in-depth. I'm sure we have some other people, Vladislava and Omar, who are going to touch a little bit more on some of the details you mentioned about. So we appreciate you trying to fit in as much as you could in as short a time as possible. Next up, and actually before the next up, just to remind everybody, if you have any questions for any of the speakers, feel free to submit them in the Q&A section. And we'll be sure to get through those at the end of the webinar. We've already had a couple questions come through, so feel free to send any more that you have. Next up, we have Meghla with sourcing in India, talking about made in India with love for Europe. Meghla, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much. So let me share my screen. I've got some slides prepared for you guys. All right. So what I want to talk about today is, first of all, why should you consider sourcing products from India for Europe? What types of products you can source specifically for Amazon, and how India Sourcing Network basically helps you. So let's get started because we don't have a lot of time. Just going to make sure I look at the clock here. Okay, so a quick intro. I've been working in the Asia sourcing industry for over 24 years. We basically help global importers source products from India, primarily from India, and now we've also diversified to Vietnam. And I have worked myself in India, in the Philippines, in China for 10 years. I was in Singapore. And there are a couple of different services that we run: India Sourcing Network, Vietnam Sourcing Network, where we are like a sourcing agency where we help people source products. And then we also organize group and individual sourcing trips to India and Vietnam. All right, so first of all, why should you consider sourcing products from India if you're selling in Europe or in the EU? So first of all, India and EU, they have really good trade relationships. In fact, the EU is the second largest destination for Indian exports after the US. So 14.9% of the total of India's exports go to the EU. And India is the EU's 10th largest trading partner, accounting for about 2% of total goods that are imported into the EU. So both countries have very healthy trade relationships. And in fact, recently there have been some free trade agreements that have also been signed between the two regions. And there's one FTA that has recently been signed that is that both countries have agreed to $100 billion worth of trade over the course of some time. Now, here's just some data on the overall exports. So as you can see, the green bars over here, these are the imports into the EU from India. So there has been a consistent increase. In fact, in 2022, there was a significant increase of imports. And over the last decade or so, overall trade has increased by 30%. Another reason to consider sourcing from India, especially if you are already sourcing in China, is the rising production costs in China. And Chinese suppliers have been in the game for a really long time, and a lot of the suppliers are actually moving up the value chain. And that is one reason why a lot of the products that are sort of low end, low value, they are moving out of China. And overall labor costs are lower in India. So if your product is labor intensive, for example, if it's garments or, like you see this picture over here, there's a factory where they're actually cutting fabric manually. So if a lot of manual labor is involved, then your product can actually be sourced cheaper in India. Of course, there are a lot of different factors. We can't just generalize. The material has to be available locally. There has to be a good supply chain for the product. But in general, if the product is labor intensive, you can source it cheaper in India. So here's just some comparison of the minimum wages in different countries. So as you can see, China has the highest wages, followed by Thailand, and then Vietnam and India. So this in itself, the lower wages, this in itself really impacts production costs. That was a study done by a global supply chain director where he produced the exact same bag in 3 different countries. And whereas China was 0, Vietnam was -11, and India was -37. So you can see over here, this was a very labor-intensive product, and the main thing that really affected the overall cost was the monthly wages. Also, generally in India, we find that there's better IP protection. So, for example, if some of you source in China, you probably must have heard of stories where you design a really cool product and you get it manufactured, and even before the product is out of the factory, you find that it's already selling on Amazon, right? And that happens because a lot of the Chinese manufacturers are actually selling D2C, and they're selling under their own brands or on Amazon. However, in India, that's not the case. Most sellers, most factories still prefer to do B2B, and they prefer to sell in volumes to buyers, to importers globally. They generally don't like to do D2C. Of course, there are some newer companies and brands that are coming up that are selling directly, but in general, the manufacturers that do private label OEM, they are not the ones selling directly on Amazon. Another reason is that you find a lot of very unique products in India that are not found in other countries. So, for example, there are a lot of local handcrafted products that are very unique and very specific to India because there are artisans that specialize in the way that these products are manufactured. And a lot of these products are made from natural materials like metal, wood, glass, fabrics. And what happens is that there are a lot of these artisans that are in specific production hubs. So, for example, there's this one production hub that specializes in wooden products. There's another one for metal. There's another one for glass. And these artisans have been producing these products for generations. And the skill set has really been transferred from one generation to the other. And a lot of the exporters or the factories are leveraging the skills of these artisans to export products to Western markets. And so these factories and exporters, they understand the requirements of the export markets. They understand the designs that are preferred by Western audiences, and then they leverage the artisan skill set to produce those kinds of products at scale. That's something else to keep in mind. A lot of these products, even though they're handmade, they are produced at scale, and they are, sometimes at big factories, the MOQs are as high as like one container and all. So even though they are handcrafted, they're actually produced at scale. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about some of the top best-selling India products on Amazon in Europe. And I've actually got this list from Amazon themselves. So they have listed all of these products. So these are the general products that you can find, that are Amazonable from India. So there's home decor items. A lot of them are handcrafted, made of metal, wood, ceramic, jute, cotton, glass. There's a lot of kitchen and tableware, furniture, furnishings, cushion covers, rugs, pet products, eco-friendly products, jewelry, footwear, textiles, organic cotton, leather, and food. So in general, these are the types of products that Amazon sellers have success in, whether they are importing into the US or Europe. Now let's look at the specific products that are doing. So home, textile, and decor. This is one of the biggest categories in Europe. And these include things like, cushion covers, bedding, lighting, handicrafts, rugs, carpets. Now, India really specializes in natural materials, even in textiles. So cotton and organic cotton is very popular from India. So these are some of the handcrafted products. These are glass, metal, wood, and Indian suppliers really specialize in combining different materials. So for example, here there's wood and metal. You can also find marble, wood, glass, all combined into one product. So that's something that you'll find is very unique to India. Okay, Ayurveda and wellness, or all of these health supplements, these are very popular from India, and they're doing quite well on Amazon. So for example, these are essential oils or Ayurvedic supplements, hair masks, herbal medicines, herbal teas. There's also very popular herbs like ashwagandha or turmeric, which is gaining popularity. So all those types of herbs can be found in India. Beauty and personal care. So this is again skincare, makeup products, body scrubs, hair oil. And the benefit, or one of the USPs of sourcing these products in India, is that they use natural materials. They don't use a lot of chemicals. So if you have that kind of a brand where you want to really focus on natural materials and no chemicals, and India is a good place to do that. Jewelry. Now, this is a huge category too. And there are a lot of different types of jewelries available. So there's semi-precious stones. That's one of India's specialties. There's sterling silver, gold, even diamonds, if you are adventurous, if that can be sold on Amazon. I guess everything can be. But lots of different types of jewelry available. And in terms of styles, there's necklaces, pendants, bangles, nose pins, body jewelry, basically anything that you can think of. Gardening and outdoor home equipment. So this is another big category. And because there's a lot of metal products that are made in India, metal and fabric, so you'll find things like gloves, scissors, gardening tools, also barbecue tools and outdoor accessories are very popular as well. Pet supplies. Now, this is a very big category, and we can find products that are made out of fabrics, out of metal. So for example, these products over here, they're actually pet urns. These are very popular, and selling quite well. And then there's other things like pet beds, leashes, pet bags, toys. And if you do want to have some like eco-friendly products, there are companies that produce eco-friendly pet toys and pet products that are made from natural materials. That's their USP, that they're eco-friendly. Also, a lot of leather items for toys, for pet leashes, for example. Toys and games. Now, this is a growing category from India, and this is one of the industries that the government is really focusing on. So there are a lot of factories coming up, and in fact, up to 3 or 4 years ago, almost 90% of the toys sold domestically in India used to come from China. But now that has changed. And I would say, like, if you go to the market over here, only like 30 to 40% of the toys are made in China, but all of the others are made in India. So there are a lot of new factories that are being, set up in India, not only to cater to the domestic market, but also for exports. And some of these types of toys are like puzzles and building blocks that are made out of, maybe wood, or even natural materials like rubber. Okay, apparel is another big category, and this is one of India's biggest export categories. And again, a lot of the products are made out of natural materials like cotton, silk, wool, and specifically organic cotton. If you are looking to do organic cotton, India is the best option for that, because India, in fact, has more GOTS certified factories than China. So GOTS is a very essential certification that is needed for organic cotton manufacturing. And then leather bags, wallets, equestrian items. So leather is another huge material from India. And a lot of these products go to Europe. In fact, there are a lot of leather garments that are exported to Italy as well from India, like jackets and pants and skirts, etc. Eco-friendly products. Now, if you are into this sort of category, India is a great place to source eco-friendly products. And there's a lot of innovation happening in terms of the materials that India is producing. So, for example, these wine bags over here, they are made from cork. And cork is basically, it comes from the bark of a tree. So it's a very eco-friendly material. This bag over here is also made out of cork. And there are other similar materials, for example, made out of, cactus or banana fibers or those types of things. So, of course, these materials are still very niche and they're not mass market. So prices are typically higher. But there is a very big market, especially in Europe, for these eco-friendly items. This is a map that just shows all of the different types of products that are produced in India and where they are concentrated. And most of the products that Amazon sellers would source are actually based in, North India. The production hubs are in North India. And as you can see over here, each of the production hub really specializes in a specific material. I mean, in general, like this is for glass, marble and stone products, then wooden furniture, jewelry, home furnishings, wool, sportswear, ceramics, metal and wooden home products. A lot of the tea comes from Northeast. In the South, there's a lot of silk, leather, automobiles, tea, those types of things. So just as in China, there are production hubs for different products, India has production hubs as well. This is a free ebook that you can download. It includes a list of all of the different types of products that can be sourced in India, and it has lots of examples as well. So more detail given in this ebook. Okay, how do we help with the sourcing? So we've got done for you sourcing services where we can manage your entire sourcing process from start to end, including quality control. And then, as I mentioned, we also host group and private sourcing trips. Our next trip is coming up in end of this month to Vietnam. And then after that, we've got a trip to India in October. And then we also offer sourcing consultancy services in case you want to just have a chat and you want to learn more about sourcing from India and if it's the right option for you. This is how you can find us: indiasourcingtrip.com, indiasourcing.net, and vietnamsourcingtrip.com. Those are our websites. If you have any questions, info@indiasourcing.net. So that's it from me.
Awesome. Thank you, Meghla. I appreciate that. And again, as a reminder, if there are any questions on that in particular, please submit them into the Q&A section. You did touch on a really important piece there on the IP protection. That is exactly how I lost my first best-selling product, was manufacturing in China without IP protection. So You mentioned that briefly, but that is a huge thing. Awesome. Thank you for your time with that. Next up, we have Rashad, who will be talking about performance drives profitability, saving time, effort, and money with WhatSales. So, Rashad, take it away.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me on and everybody else. I don't have any slides, unfortunately. The previous presenters were really prepared, but we've got our platform, so hopefully that will do the trick. A bit of background on me. My name is Rashad. I'm based here in the UK. I'm an ex-seller myself. I've gone through the whole creating a brand, launching a brand, building it up, and then exiting it and moving on to other things. But when I was a seller, selling on omni-channel, multiple marketplaces, my biggest challenge was, are we actually making any money? You know, yeah, it's nice to see the 6-7 figures coming in every month, but then the following week, all of the money goes when it comes to advertising and the referral fees and the storage fees. So for me to stay on top of that, which I'm sure is a challenge for a lot of sellers, was essential. I ended up hiring a whole warehouse full of people offshore just to be able to get on and stay on top of the whole, how much are we making? How much stock do we need? How prepared do we need to be? And screaming down the phone 6, 10, 20 times a day, what's the sales? What's the sales? And WhatSales was born. We are now, touch wood, one of the fastest growing profitability platforms out there. We are aggregating real-time financial data from a majority of the marketplaces, and really happy to say that we are the leaders in profitability and performance. It's really crucial to understand, and I'll share my screen as we go along. It's really crucial to understand that it's very easy to it's really easy to throw money at. Is my screen being shared?
Yeah, we get. Yes, it's showing, Rashad.
Excellent. It's really easy, Mike, and everybody else, to throw money at PPC campaigns. That's easy. But if you can't track the performance of your listings wherever you're selling, you're not going to get very far. So what I learned earlier on when I was a seller, building my multi-figure brand and then taking it into retail offline through Walmart and CVC, etc., when you keep track of your performance, then you can really start to hone in on your profitability. So I started building around this, and I have partners. We have a whole team. This is WhatSales. Here, what you'll see is this particular account. We've connected TikTok, Shopify, B&Q, Walmart, OnBuy, eBay, and of course the Goliath, Amazon. We've connected all of that, and we aggregate all of that sales and financial data into one place in real time and in near time for ad spends, but as close as we can. We are now able to show a seller at any single time how well they're doing, how bad they're doing, and most importantly, where they're doing bad. Alongside that, we've got our live stream, profits as they happen, sales as they happen, positive reviews as they happen, and the impact it has on the listing, negative reviews as it happens, and the impact it has, inventory updates. Then moving on, the financial widgets, relatively easy. But what we've done is really hone in and made it easy for the seller to see something what Emanuel touched on earlier, VAT. Now, if they're a US seller also selling in the UK and also selling in Germany, there's 3 sets of marketplace taxes being applied. We've spent a lot of time, effort, energy, and money to be able to get this right. We've got our own VAT system in place, which allows sellers to now keep track on which tax man is taking the money and stay on top of it. Channel revenue performance. Which one of your channels is doing great? Your Amazon, your eBay, your etc., etc. One really surprising one for me is the TikTok. It's just exploding. Social commerce is real. If you're a seller and you're not tapping into social commerce, you're missing out. Other stats, some boring stuff, refunds and what impact it had and the promo codes used. But here's a really interesting one. When I was selling, and I guess for many sellers who have maybe a larger catalog, what was my bestseller this week? But what was my bestseller based on ad spend, by revenue, by profit? What was my lease seller? What was my roast refunded? So we tap into all of that, once again, giving sellers more control over their data. What I'd like to just do is, we've got loads of areas, and we'll be here until tomorrow if we start analyzing every part of WhatSales. I do invite every seller, please head on over to whatsales.io, set up a free trial account, connect your accounts, and start seeing things very, very differently. What I would like to show is product performance. Mike and the rest, it normally takes a good couple of hours to assess a listing, to assess the sales, the sentiment, the reviews. Would you agree on that, Mike?
Yes, 100%. And especially with Amazon only allowing Excel exports for most things, it makes it incredibly time consuming.
See, that's what really used to pay me off, that you end up spending 3-4 hours on trying to find what the hell is wrong with the bloody listing, only to have your Excel sheets and spreadsheets, and by the time you've made them, they're out of date. By the time you've downloaded all your goddamn brand analytics report and sales reports and this report, it's all out of date. So that was one of my biggest frustrations. So I set aside a large pool of money, and we thankfully got venture back last year as well. We can now reduce that assessment time down to 30 seconds. So now a seller is looking at a very different set of data. This dummy product on this particular account, we can see that it's doing 30% net. Now, in the grand scheme of things, for any product doing 30% net every month, that would be considered quite good. However, this is what separates the 1% from the 99% of all the sellers. If you want to be a great seller, whether you're expanding into Europe or expanding into the Middle East or South America, wherever you are, this is where performance analytics will change the way you manage your business. We may be doing 30% net, but our AI is telling us that we are above average on our ACOS. Something is not quite right. Moving left, we can see our refund ratios are creeping up at 1.63%. When we start looking at our reasons, we can start seeing defective, not compatible, blah, 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 blah. Now the picture and the story is changing. Now we can begin to see that, okay, I may be making 30%, but if things were better here, I could be making more. When we start looking at customer sentiment, which is a new feature we just made live, we realize that 66% of this dummy product, people love it, and 21% hate it, 30%, 13% are neutral. This 21% is now impacting and affecting everything. When we start looking at your trends, we start seeing a holistic view of how performance drives profitability. And that's not WhatSales being slow. My internet has been playing up all day, so just give it a second. So there we see. These are industry first. Once again, what we've done is we've been able to plot reviews, whether they're positive, negative, mediocre, against your ranking for that particular marketplace. We see that we had one review here and one review here. Now, this is worrying because positive reviews, and I'm sure everyone will agree, means ranking should be going up. We can see that we've got an ad spend happening here, but there's something quite drastically wrong. The refunds. Now, before throwing money onto this listing, before even considering taking this product to any territory in the world, let alone Europe, is fix the product. Because if our ranking is dropping by 20-25% since January on this particular product, that means we may have missed out on at least another 10-15% more in an input of orders, influx in orders. That's how performance drives profitability. Keeping a closer eye on your P&L, your performance, and this is what WhatSales brings to the table, making it easier for every seller to really hone in at a macro and micro level to all of their selling tactics. And once they've got it right for one territory, boom, take it everywhere. And yes, you can create product groups by country, you can set up VATs, you can set up all the taxes, you can automate all sorts of stuff. We're partnered up with many sellers across Europe and the UK and US ever since becoming Walmart approved. We're We're now tapping into the US. TikTok is the next one on the table, but that's pretty much me and WhatSales. Mike, I'd be happy to take any questions and inviting everybody to head on over to whatsales.io. Once you connect, you'll start looking at your business very, very differently.
Awesome, Rashad. And I know we have a few questions at the end, so I'm sure we'll get through that. Thank you for kind of demoing the platform for us. You brought up a lot of very good points there, especially, if your product is not liked by customers, if it doesn't have a good perception, if the social proof is bad and you had bad reviews, that's going to stop you from expanding. You got to fix those problems first. So it's a very good point you bring up with that. Thank you for all of that detail.
We have an advertising page, but shortage of time. I'd invite people to use it. We've created the whole AI. It will tell you, Mike, stop spending money here, or Mike, start spending more here. Product intelligence. So there's lots of areas, but just for today's session, I just wanted to hone in on product performance.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Next up, we have Vladislava talking about EU market entry, your 5-step guide. So Vladislava, why don't you take it away?
Thank you for giving the mic and thank you for introducing me. Rashad just wanted to say that I'm impressed. I'm not an e-com seller yet, but maybe one day. That for me, it looks like an amazing tool for our e-com sellers. So yeah, let me share my screen with you, and yeah. I believe that now you can see my screen. So I'm super excited to tell you about our 5 steps guide of entering European market. So, sorry, just trying to learn how to change the slide. Yeah, too quickly. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Vladislava, and I'm leading a team of global business development here at WAPI. So about us, let's give me a quick overview of WAPI. We are all-in-one solution for fulfillment, marketplace, courier services, and the warehouses aggregator. Imagine having everything you need for a successful sales just in one platform. Is it that simple? About facts and figures, we have a 15+ years experience in logistics and e-commerce. Total more than 5 million parcels delivered, more than 20 million GMV managed annually, and we are a team of 40+ professional members. So let's go to the key steps you need to take to enter the European market. And let's start with the first one, and let's say the most important one is the market penetration. And the steps are identifying and assess local partners or distributors, ensure regulatory compliance, customize offering for local markets, test products, services before you roll out, and monitor market and adjust strategies. It might be tricky sometimes to enter a new market, and for new sellers, it might take up to a year before entering new country. And we know that spending that much time on just the resources or market penetration is a loss of profitability and a loss of time. But together with WAPI, we can speed up this process and make it as fast as 5-7 days. So it's that simple. Let's go to the step number 2 as a financial optimization and why it's such a game changer. So the points you need to focus on is optimizing supply chain and inventory. Of course, negotiate with the suppliers for better terms. Invest in IT and optimize payment processing. Step number 3 is, of course, fulfillment. And yeah, the points important for an e-com seller which wants to start a new sales in a new country are as a research for the warehouse location, negotiate agreements, coordinate logistics, optimize fulfillment processes, and manage inventory effectively. This is where the WAPI steps in, and we are just taking this headache of doing all those points by yourself or hiring dedicated team member. We're just gonna do that everything inside of you. Okay, Let's continue with the next steps. And the next step is the same important as a fulfillment. That's a final mile delivery. Here we go with the following steps. And this is plan logistic routes, establish local warehousing facilities, force last mile delivery partnership, continuously improve delivery processes, and scale and adapt delivery infrastructure. This is again the points where we are more than happy to help you and to take this pain away, because we are already integrated with the different carrier services, and just basically those are the way how you deliver your parcel faster, cheaper, and to save your time and money. And the last but not the least, this is of course as important as all those previous points I've already mentioned, is the cost management. What do we have here? Minimize customer costs, monitoring logistic costs, considering outsourcing logistic, negotiate supplier terms, and optimize expense management. I believe that you already know that every additional cost as taxes, delivery costs, or some other costs are making the decision of buying the product lower. So most probably at the checkout, when you see that you need to pay something for the delivery, or there are some taxes that you need to pay, there are so many chances that the person will continue with the purchasing the product. So it's important to understand all the costs together. So basically, those were the top 5 steps that WAPI considers that every seller needs to take in mind to successfully enter European market. But before we continue, I would love to share with you the real case that happened with WAPI and how we found a solution. In the case of the seller who wanted to start sales of CBD products in Germany, but lacked knowledge of the legal processes, was involved in the process. How WAPI stepped in and what we helped with. We understand and we explained to the seller that CBD product cannot be classified as a food supplement. So for this type of the product, there is another category, there is another registration, and this product cannot be registered with the same way as food supplements. So advising on the novel food categorization in the EU, that means that these products are registered under the novel food processes, and ensuring compliance with the THC content regulations. As a result, once we explain all the steps to the seller, we got the positive feedback as a seller who is selling the product safety, with the mitigation of risks such as a product confiscation, avoidance of hefty fines, and the preservation of reputation. So basically, before entering new markets, you need to make such a research and to have a professional partner who can guide you through every step, those 5 steps which I have just shared with you. Yeah, actually just wanted to share that for our new clients, we have a special offer that we are more than happy to give you 2 months of work with a minimal subscription fee. That basically means that you can save up to 1,000 euros. Isn't it great? And yeah, just scan this QR code, go to our webpage. You can find more information about WAPI there, and just leave your inquiry and our managers will get back to you ASAP.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Vladislava.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have, and last but not least, I should say, Omar, who's going to be talking about unlocking the power of localized keywords in the UAE market. So Omar, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, just so hey, thank you for inviting me. So the UAE market is a little bit apart, but we mainly talk about the European market. But you know, it's good always to see more, to expand more into other marketplaces, because you know it's getting so big, everything, and it's really good to focus to see some other things as well. But first, let me share a little bit about the European Union. I will try to share right now. Share my screen. Where do I have all that stuff? Share here. And here we go. Okay, great. Can you see it? Yeah.
Yep, we have it, Omar.
Okay, I just have to. It's really annoying because the screen is too small. I'm used to the double screen. Okay, here we go. So for anybody who don't know me, my name is Omar Angri. I'm the CEO and co-founder of MarginBusiness.com. We are known for the localization, translation of listings, photo, HEO, everything around that. So in order to come to the European Union, for example, from the US, you will have to really understand your customer avatar, and this goes through the listing. I will tell you many examples how we do it, or what I've seen in the last years, who has done the mistakes and how they done it. But let's start first. So understanding localization. Localization is adapting your content to a specific market. So like I already said, you come from the US to the UK. There's so many sellers like from outside of the UK or from the US. They say like, okay, yeah, let's sell in the UK. It's English speaker market. We just pull out the listings from the US, put them into UK. We're going to sell. And suddenly, boom, nothing selling, or selling maybe it's a good product, you know, and they sell maybe under like 5,000-10,000 per month. But the real potential is not there, you know, because they're missing out. So this is where we coming in. We're explaining the customer, for example, listen, this is what you done wrong. You bleeding on PPC, obviously, because you don't have keywords. You took the listing from the US into the UK. You will not go over a certain amount because you didn't respect the rules. So what I've seen so far is small sellers are, you know, try everything on their own. They try to do this, to go into this on their own, but the bigger sellers understand it already. So the big companies, they are more tend to take these services because they know that they tap into something which they don't really understand. So I give you an example. There was we had some Chinese sellers. They were selling 1 million. They had like a few accounts. It's like 7 or 8 accounts, and they were selling like 1 million on it. And I checked the data and I checked their localization and everything, because we were working on other projects for them. And I explained to them, listen, if you're going to do this better, you're going to go from 1 million to 5 million. But, you know, there is some they don't really care company. They're just employees, and they're happy with what is selling, and that's about it, you know. So some don't want to understand, but the ones who understand it, and this is the ones they are listening to these webinars, they are really going to the next level, using services from Rashad, sourcing, for example, from Meghla, using WAPI, AMZ advisors all together. This is the new gateway, you know. So you can, it's hard to do it on your own. So this is Amazon SEO keywords and PPC, everything goes together. This is as well something like I already said, they put the listing up, put some PPC not running, PPC bleeding. Why? Because nothing is correlated, nothing goes together. So these are the main mistakes that we see even at large sellers. And I always love to give that example. Okay, I jumped to the next one, but anyway, this is the power of localization. For example, in the UAE where I'm at right now, there is Ramadan right now. So you see Krispy Kreme is adapting completely to the market. You know, they even pull out some stuff. I was myself like, I ate them as well, you know, but you know, I try not to eat that stuff too much, but I needed to try them. So this is for me something amazing. And it's not all the companies who are doing that, you know. They're coming to the UAE, for example, and they don't localize at all. They take the pictures, what they have in the UAE, they bring it over here instead of adapting to the market where they could sell so much. And trust me, Krispy Kreme, they sell a lot, you know. It's not Amazon related, but you can easily adapt it to it, because you need to change your pictures when you sell to other customers. And in the UAE, in the European Union, it's exactly the same as you already mentioned before. The speaker's not here anymore, I think. Yeah, Mike. He mentioned this. I forgot now. He mentioned that in the European Union, it's super important. For example, the Germans have a complete other conception in pictures or something as as the Italians, for example. You know, the Italians like clean pictures, 100%. So while the Germans, for example, we work for a baby brand, I will go there as well afterwards. The Germans, they don't really mind. It's in the it should be natural, you know. So the baby can be completely slubbery with food all over the clothes, you know. It's something like organic. They love like the organic type of things. So let me just, sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of here of everything that I wanted to present. So Amazon EU expanding to new marketplaces requires an understanding of local preferences, obviously, because that's what I always already explained with the babies. With the baby brand, for example, it's not everything needs to be like, you know, like with a centimeter, exactly 10 centimeters. This one, it needs to be natural. So the pictures need to be natural, while in other countries, they don't like it natural. So the text needs as well to adapt to the mother. So when the mother opens up the computer, she has the credit card already in Amazon. So it would be a loss for you if you don't adapt your listing. So the listing needs to talk to the mother like, oh, that is me. So the first sentence, second sentence, and the keywords, exactly, the keywords should not be like these, you know, these weird phrases, what you see as well in English, promotion special tomorrow, something strange like that. They put this into the keywords. And then obviously when they read it, they say like, oh, what is that? That's not a native speaker. I don't want my kid to have something like this around their neck, or, you know, it's something of that kind. So it's very crucial to understand your customer. The customer is not an object. Before, maybe you could have done that like 10 years ago, you know, but now it's like you need to, like, it's like a funnel. You track him down, and at the end, your customer is falling down. And this is how as well you lose less in PPC. So just research for the keyword localization strategies, research your target market thoroughly. So always check the keywords, and you need to have native speakers. So if you don't have native speakers, you ain't gonna have the correct keywords. Then you have some strange keywords sitting somewhere. Maybe some Chinese have used it, bet on them, I don't know, crazy amount of money, but they make no sense, even though they are red. So we have to make sure that we have some green keywords. The green keywords are the mid-range keywords, some long phrase keywords, because this is how really they search in the search engine. So the localization here is super important, because how can you get to a customer when you have some okay, in Germany, for example, there is as well English keywords, but you need to really understand the local mindset, and cannot just take any keyword which is red into your listing. So this is as well very important. Yeah, so this is like general. I put some other stuff out because I'm sure you're gonna get bored with this, because we had already some of the statistics, but I think these statistics are very important. They're a little bit global, and according to Google, all shopping searches have local intent. So 46% of all shopping searches have local intent. Wow, it's a tongue breaker. Blah. So Google dominates online searches over 92% of the market. 46% of searches have local intent, indicating a strong demand for localized products and services. So here you can see that it's not me who just invented that, or maybe over the years we tried to, you know, sell our services or something of that kind. It's here, you know, we got the data. Anyone who's interested can go into this. And nowadays we have to localize. I mean, if you just put the US, you have in the north, you have Seattle. You have in the south, you have Florida. There's two different states. They speak a different language. Like, I mean, they speak English, but they use different words. So if you would have in the US like different slang words and could put it into the listing, that would be amazing. I'm sure Amazon is on it already. I know in PPC we have this already, that we can localize target locally. So okay, next one. So these are the services we provided. For example, for one of large baby brands nowadays, you can see the ranks, the sales which are going up, and these exactly happened when we added the keywords into the listing. And as well, we did the photo shooting for this customer as well. So we really adapted these photos to the German market, because as you already mentioned before, the speakers before, that the German market is one of the largest market, or is the second largest market right now. So it's very, very important to really please these customers, because they are really buying machines. And if you are nice with them, and if you understand the customers, they will be nice with you. They will be coming back to you. You will be their favorite brand. You don't have to be Nike or something. You just have to be correct with them and understand what you're doing here. Okay, so the most important, from what I've seen right now as well, a part of the keywords, obviously, is the HEO, you know, human enjoyment optimization. I'm not sure if you know that word. I came across it a few months ago, and I love that word, because when the last years, from what I've seen, like if you take, like I said already before, if you take pictures and just randomly put them on your Amazon listing and begin to import it into other countries, it won't work. People will be ahead of you. Sellers will be ahead of you. Everyone gets more professional right now. There's people who have crazy photo studios. They're having models. They're having everything. And then if you then come with some Photoshop stuff with the Chinese sent you, and then you put some pictures together, although maybe your product is really good, you know, you will not be winning, because these people investing a certain amount of money just to get pictures right, just to get the text right, just to get the keywords inside, and even to change them afterwards. So this is a professional selling game right now. And I can just emphasize, check it out if you haven't done it yet. HEO is upcoming. People don't want to read anymore too much. They're looking at the pictures and want to sell directly. Like if they see something like this in the background, for example, you see that, oh yeah, that's my thing. I like some nature stuff, and have a bottle there. Yeah, let's grab it, you know. And if it would be, for example, somewhere else, maybe they won't do it. But you know, this is why you need to understand your customer avatar. So think human first. We're not the customers are not machines; they're humans. Coming to that, we have a tool, amzlistai.com. I'm bringing this up not because I want to sell the tool. I'm bringing this up to say that we are very, very far away from 100% listing, where we have, for example, as well the keywords inside, and where we have a localization inside. So the machines are not able to localize. The machines are not able to put correctly the keywords inside. So maybe from here, maybe 5 years down the line, this will be possible. But for now, what we do is we can create a listing, like from Amazon guidelines, everything correct in any language you want. But if you really want to put it on Amazon afterwards, you will have either a language professional to go through it, to localize it, and to put as well keywords in it. So just to mention this, because I think it's important that not that anybody is thinking like they can now get to a tool and just, you know, go through it and sell on all marketplaces just through an automation tool, which is not possible, you know. So think human first. Okay. So just quickly about the Amazon UAE. Now we went from the EU market into the UAE market. It's about the same. Now the cultural differences are a lot bigger than what we have between the US and the European Union. So you need really to adapt your photos to the local lifestyle. And I think I didn't put any pictures now on, but I think if you want to research it, you can do it. I think Lexus is doing an amazing job. They are really, when you look at the pictures, you can tell directly this is the Middle East, this is the UAE, and it's amazing to see that how they as well can adapt. And I'm missing it a little bit from Amazon sellers, especially specifically, to do the same, to really respect the change in culture and see what they can do, how they can please their customer in the other countries. It's not that easy and saying like, I don't sell, I just close the thing down and go back to US or go back to UK where my sales are cool. This is the thing. When you do the expansion, you really have to understand what you're doing, and you need to be passionate about it. You need to like it, and you need to really live what you do. So the entry level is very low in the UAE market. It's a very young market. There's no monthly fees, but it's not an easy market, which means that you ain't gonna go high like in the UK. You will go, I don't know, maybe if you have a good product, you 10, 15 products per day, but it's an upcoming market. So for the next years, I really, this is a market to consider. Have a look at it within the next years. Maybe you want to test on it. And it's very, very near to India, which is good for Meghla as well. Because you can source very quickly into the UAE as well. China, yeah, so this is for the UAE market. And a quick thing, personally or professionally, we have a new service which is called DIFY. And because we are so near to the sourcing countries, we have a service which helps all in one Amazon, because there's people who say, I want to sell on Amazon, how can I do that? And there is registering, there's VAT, there's this and that. They come to us and then we do everything for them in one go. So pay a monthly fee and we do this for them until the account is open, until they're selling, then they can take over. In the meantime, obviously they need to learn and we help them to learn as well. So this is DIFY, a new service that they have, just in between the lines quickly. So tips and tricks, very quickly, what to do when entering new markets, what not to do when entering new markets. Google Translate and Amazon automatic translations. I won't go into it again because I think I spoke about half an hour already about this topic. So what to do when entering new markets? Research. Don't just go and think like, yeah, my product is the best. It's selling so much in the US. I'm going to sell it in Europe and it's going to sell as well. Don't work like that. Do the research. We do the same. Before you come to us and want to sell something, we do the research. If it's not good, we come back to you. We tell you, listen, please, you better don't do it. If you still want to do it, we help you. We want to say no, obviously, but we recommend you that you should maybe not to do it. What I've seen a lot of mistakes is hire an agency. Don't go on Fiverr or Upwork and hire here and there 7 languages, and then one falls out, the other one cannot do keywords, the other one is this and that, the other one's not native speaker. You will have more headache in hiring all of these languages than going to an agent and say, listen, this is what I need, okay? So listing localization. With this, I close this topic. I think I talked enough about it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you understand how important it is. This is how you can reach us. My email is omar at marginbusiness.com. YouTube channel, marginbusiness.com. marginbusiness.com. And anything you need, any questions in listing analyzers, selling on Amazon, just get back. We're here for you. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Omar. Thank you for that presentation. That was really in depth, and I actually like that HEO concept. That's a unique way to think about things. So I'm gonna have to use that going forward. We have a lot of questions and we have a little bit of time, so we're gonna try to get through as many as possible. The first question looks like I'm not sure who it was directed to, but does European fulfillment networks does European fulfillment network labels need to be multi-language as pan-European? I think this is to you, Emanuel. I'm not positive.
Yeah, I mean, I can take it. So the answer is no. If you're using EFN, you don't need to have multi-language labels. You can sell it with a label from the country that you're selling it from. So that's fine, because the products are not stored in other countries, so they apply to the laws of the country that the product is stored in.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Next, I believe this is for you, Meghla. I'm a manufacturer of Ayurvedic health supplements. What are regulatory requirements in the European market? I'm from Mumbai.
Yeah, so for supplements, you do need FDA. And I mean, it varies, from supplement to supplement, but generally for food items, the factory that produces the product needs to be FDA approved. And you also need to register the item with FDA before it is imported. And then there are other requirements as well, other certifications. So, I mean, what you could actually do is go to one of the agencies, like there's Intertech, SGS, all of these agencies do testing, and just show them the product and say, this is the market that I want to export to, and they'll be able to guide you on which certifications are needed.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Next one. This is for Rashad, I believe. How suitable is WhatSales for wholesale sellers?
Oh, wow. We are exclusive partners, profitability partners with Linworks, and Linworks, as you may know, are one of the biggest inventory and stock platforms for wholesale sellers in the country. We are very suitable for wholesale sellers. I think the biggest value add for wholesale sellers is we cut down time by 50, 60, 70% on assessing where things are going wrong. Wholesale sellers traditionally have 100 to 1,000 SKUs. I mean, we have some of our enterprise level customers, they are 50, 60,000 SKUs. We've reduced their VAs and their management and their mundane activities and mundane tasks down to nothing, automation. So yes, we are very, very suitable for wholesale sellers, enterprise sellers. And just on that, we're also suitable for solopreneurs and literally just starting out one product drop shippers, or no matter where you are on the spectrum. Yep, WhatSales will work.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Rashad. Vladislava, next one is for you. In what countries in the European market do you have warehouses? We'd like to market our products, rugs and carpets in Germany, Spain, France, Netherlands, and Sweden.
Perfect. Yeah, we have 11 different facilities and we do have warehouse in Spain, Germany. So just feel free to find me on LinkedIn and I will be happy to share more.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Omar, over to you. Why can't we simply do a keyword research in our own language?
Okay, yeah, we got this question a lot. So, for example, if I get this question a lot when American companies saying, "Yeah, we give you a keyword list and you translate them, you put them into the listing." You know, it's not easy. Like this is exactly what I was talking about. You need to localize them. So, okay, you can give the keyword list, but it will be not the same at all. You know, so we're gonna do a real keyword research again in the country you want to sell, and then you're gonna put it in the listing. So I hope I replied to your question. So it's not possible. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Next was, how can I sell my product successfully? Emanuel, I believe that's for you.
Well, I think the short answer would be by following everything that you heard in here today, step by step, and go through in depth into every part of what are you going to do, from keyword research, analysis, warehousing, VAT, and everything like that. Having the proper information from this type of webinars and apply it consistently.
Awesome. Thank you for your answer there. Is Vietnam or India better for sourcing paper products? Meghla.
Really depends on what kind of paper products you're looking for. So if it is something like, I don't know, toilet paper, that's, you know, India does that. Vietnam also does, you know, different types of paper. So printing paper, for example, can be done in both places. Yeah, depends on the type of product. But generally, both countries can do paper.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. Rashad, can WhatSales help streamline a seller's selling operations and teams? I guess that means from capacity-wise. Oh, Rashad, you there?
I think you're on mute, Rashad.
Sorry, classic Zoom mistake. Anyway, the short answer is yes. It would be great to have an hour dedicated on WhatSales, but just to verbally talk through it, we not only streamline the account, but which designer did what work on what listing, and when it made live, what impact did it have? So I know who to go and shout at when the listing is going down. And I think this is why agency partners, Omar, I'm sure we'll connect later as well, but a lot of our sellers, they like WhatSales now because they can now hold accountable the designers, the content writers, the agencies. You said it's going to go up and it's going this way. The PPC said it's going to go up, and so we can do all of that. I think with every seller, they all tend to have a project management tool as well. And I hate project management tools. So we built one inside of WhatSales. So now you can identify the listing, identify the task, create the bloody task there and then, assign it to a VA, assign it to, you get the gist. So short answer is yes. Reach out to us over the website and schedule a demo and blah, 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 blah. We will sort it out.
All right. Thank you, Rashad. Next question is for Vladislava. What's the average delivery time for products in Europe?
Yeah, sure. So if we are talking about domestic deliveries with WAPI, it's 24, 48 hours, and the cross-border starting from 48 to 72 hours.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Omar, will I be selling more after I optimize and localize my listing?
Yes, definitely. You will feel it. We won't say like it's going like, 5,000% up, but you need to make sure that everything is in place. Like I said already, PPC as well as in place, and the photos and the text and the keywords inside. Your research is done. Your product obviously needs to be good, but yes, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And we're going to take one more question. It's for Meghla. How big, there's two different fibers they're asking about. How big is the raw jute fiber market, and how big is the sack cell fiber market in Europe?
So I'm not really sure how big the market is. I do know that jute products are exported to Europe. So there's jute bags and backpacks and all types of things, but I'm not sure of the market size as such, specifically for jute fiber. Sexcel, yes. So we haven't done any products in these, but I do know that it is made from like cotton that is sort of recycled, waste cotton that is recycled, and it is done in India as well. I think Sexcel, if I'm not mistaken, is sort of a trademark and a patented process, but that type of product, that type of fabric that is recycled is done in India for sure.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And we actually did get one more question I think is a good question for Vladislava. What is the return parcel policy from the end consumer? So how are returns handled when you're shipping to different countries?
I love this question. So basically in Europe, there is the law that you can return the parcel within the 14 days. So basically you have this rule and every customer can use it. We do accept the returns. We do the visual check about the product. If the seller have some specific regulations about how the warehouse workers should check the returned item, we are more than welcome to receive an instruction. So basically we receive the returned item, we do the visual check, and we either put it back on the stock. If everything is fine with the product, either we utilize it.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Vladislava. And sorry, was there someone else say something? No, sorry, it was the microphone. Awesome. I think that's all the time we have today for questions. We got a lot of questions. I really appreciate everyone that submitted them. I really appreciate everyone that was able to join us on the webinar as well today, and all of our panelists. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of the speakers or myself. We're glad to get you the help you need. And also this recording will be sent out via email, so you can go back and get answers to any questions that you may have. So thank you again, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.